Hi everyone, welcome to another video of app development, and today we are going to make a calculator app. First of all, go on thunkable and click on create new app, and we make a new project. We'll name it and then click on create. Once you will create it, you will end up on another page, which is this one. So today's video is going to be all about the designing of it, and the part 2 will be about blocking it. So get started. We are going to add two screens for this. We'll do the first screen later on, which will be the splash screen. We start with the second screen. For this, first of all, let's change the background color. We'll be keeping it purple, dark shade purple, and then we'll be starting by adding a layout followed by a label in the layout, and this label will be underneath the layout. So this is the layout. Okay, this is the layout, and this is the label that we added in the layout in the top. Then we have the containers. In the containers we will be adding buttons. Then we will be renaming these containers as rows, and this one as row 2. Now in the row 1, we will be again adding two labels, one with the output and one with the input. So we will be adding it over there. Okay, one label and two labels. And these will be underneath the row 1. And the next one is going to be under the layout, not the row 1. So just take care of this one, which will give the output, and we will be renaming this label as output, and then setting the properties of the output. This will be an empty string. Okay, let's keep the size as 20. The width of this one is going to be about fill content, and the height is also be going to be fit content. Margin, we will be keeping it 10 pixels, and since the background is dark, we will be keeping it the color with light color gray. Next up, we are going to the row 2. Now in the row 2, so we will be renaming the row as add and subtract, and in this row we will be adding 4 buttons. So yeah, 4 buttons. So now that I've added 4 buttons, now we need more rows. For this, again go on layout, and in the properties here you will add more rows. So we'll get to see here more of the rows. So this is the first one, the second one, and the third one. And we will be renaming each of these as add and subtract 1. And I'm going to rename this as add and subtract 1. Add and subtract 1, followed by the another that is going to be renamed as add and subtract 2, so that when we are doing the blocking, we are known about the elements that we need. That's why we are renaming it. Now in each of these rows we will be adding 4 buttons each. Shorten it and then add it. So 4 buttons in each of that. So now that we have added the buttons, now we are going to customize the buttons and add new properties to it. Now starting with the properties of the buttons, the button, instead of button, we will be writing the numbers such as 7 and 8 and 9, division, all these numbers will be added that way. Another property that needs to be taken in care of is the font size will be of 30, followed by the pixel of each of these. Width and height is 50-50 each, and we are going to make the margin as 10 from the top, and yeah, from the top. And then talking about the border, we are going to give it a circle shape, so the radius is supposed to be 100 over here. And about the background, we will be giving it a white background color, so we have to change the text color, and that is going to be ultimately black. So this will give a nice classy look to the app. The buttons will be customized. Now this properties will be followed for all the buttons. And yeah, about the margin, we'll be adding margin from right, that is about 10, so it gives a space. Now this same format is to be followed for all the buttons. So let's now that we are done with the buttons, we'll start the next step. We need to add uh, we need to add some space to show the output. So for that, we will go on row 1, and we will change the properties of row 1. The is we will be changing its width and height. Its width and height will be 80%. Note this, it's not pixel, it's percent. So 80% and 10% of height will be given. So what's the difference is, if you add 10 pixels, it will provide with this much space as shown, and if you change it to 10%, it will enlarge it. So 10% space or height. Next, we will be changing the color. The background color will be white, and we will be changing the border. The radius we will be setting is 25 to give it a curve, followed by the margin, which will be 10 pixels from the top. Next, after the row, we will be changing the properties of the label that was underneath the row. Um, this one, this will be changed now, the properties of this one. So for this label will be remained as an empty string. The height will be 20, the text will be of 24, and then we will be giving the width as fill container and the height as fit the content. And for this label, we will be keeping the background color again as white. Going for the output, the top will be 10 margin, the width will be fill content, followed by height also fill content. We will be keeping the text size as 20, and the string will be empty in the case of output as well. Now we will be writing in heading. So the label here that we added will be named calculator. Color we will be keeping for it is fit content, and height is 10%, and the margin will be 5 each from left as well as from right. Now let's customize the add and subtract rows that we have added. So we will be customizing them. For the width, it will be fill content, and as for the height, we will be keeping it as for 10%. Again, it's 10%. Now this will be followed for all the rows. Fill content as width, and the height is going to be 10%. Now once you start customizing these things, you will see that the things have started to be in their places. Now what I want you to be careful about is here the format. So inside the layout, we have a label that is of calculator, followed by a row. This will be showing the output. Inside it is the label, and then in the down, it's now the output is not inside the row. Note that. And then comes the subject, add and subtract things. So these things should be noted that this format is to be followed. We will be adding one more button down here, and let's name it reset, reset, and then we will be changing its background color as orange, and the font is going to be Lato. Let's keep it black, and also let's change it to 30, and let's make it bold. Okay, let's make 20. Then for the size, for width we'll keep 50%, and for the height we'll keep it 10%. Okay, let's let it be 8% in this case, 8%. To add a spacing, we'll leave a space of 20 from the top, and to give it a radius, let's keep the radius as 100. And we are done with the screen 2 designing. Let's go to screen 1, which is going to be a splat screen. It's simple. Let's keep the background color to be blue. We add a button, and we add a label. In the button we will be writing open calculator. And there you go, we are done with this flat screen designing as well. What all I have done is I have added a button, customized it, then a label. Again, just write like I have written calculations at your service. You can add some other label as well, and then I've added a simple image, and that's it. We are done with this flat screen. Then you can even got let's add two blocks over here. So that is when button 18 clicked, we need to navigate to screen number 2 over here. And what this that block basically means is when this is clicked, we will be assigned to the second screen. That's it. We are done with the designing part of the app. We have designed the app. Now all that we have left to go with is the blocks. We will be covering that in part 2. So stay tuned for that. Thank you.